Thanks for tuning in to Talking Point. I'm your host, Niraj Shah. The Talking Point today is the quarterly display of numbers by Mindtree and what Venu Lambu believes is the outlook ahead. They demonstrated strength in demand, blazed past almost all expectations with exceptionally strong beat in the revenue growth, 7.5% or slightly over that quarter on quarter in dollar terms, driven by, I presume, broad-based demand momentum. BFSI rebounded strongly. I believe travel showed some strong recovery. So Venu Lambu joins in to speak about the possibilities of whether this showing can continue or not. Venu, great having you. Thanks so much for joining in. I can say that you're walking the talk because you alluded partly to this in our last conversation, but this is probably a bit better than what you would have thought at the start of the quarter as well.
Firstly, thank you, Niraj. Great to see you back again. Look, yes, it's been a great quarter. Sort of a perfect quarter, as you call it. This thing, whether it was more than what I expected, I don't know, to be honest, because I think if you look at it, I've been consistent in the point that we see a significant demand out with our customers, and as long as we are close to them, we add value, we bring the right capabilities to them. So we'll continue to be on the right track. So I think it's as per the plan. That's how I look at it.
Okay. I thought of dividing this interview into a few positive points that the street believes you've clocked in, and a few, how do I say, not concerns really, but points to monitor with the street has brought out, and I'm going to divide them into it that way. Firstly, if I'm not wrong, while incremental growth for you used to be a Microsoft-dominated piece, so to say, I believe Q1 FY22, top 2 to 10 clients have grown about 13% sequentially, and 2 to 20 have probably grown about 11%. So would you say that it's a conscious effort to drive a more balanced mix? And will this be continuing, or will you be able to continue this balance, if you will?
Look, firstly, our top client is very strategic for us. We have a strategic relationship with the top client, and we will continue to work hard to demonstrate value and grow in our top client. So, and with regard to the growth in other accounts outside of top client, I think when we defined the strategy of 4x4x4, we did articulate that this strategy will help us to get the market share in our focus sectors, whether it's RCM, CMT, and BFSI. While RCM and CMT have shown the growth over the last 2 quarters, BFSI did take some time before we started demonstrating that growth. Now that is back as well in Q1. So I think we are on that right track to do both, to grow our top client and as well as to grow our other sectors much faster.
Yeah, so there is no conscious effort to try and balance it out. You're happy even if your top client grows a lot faster in any given quarter. You're not making a conscious effort to kind of divvy that up and make it more balanced.
No, there's no conscious effort. In fact, I would consider every business that comes to us as a privilege. So, we want to value everything that comes our way.
Okay. On the vertical side, I mean, you alluded to BFSI, some of the others. I saw, if I'm not wrong, TTH come back as well. In normal times, it's been an area of strength for you any which ways. Are you happy that this has come back? And a lot of people believe that for all companies which are focused on that, the next few quarters might actually show a good year-on-year upswing simply because of how depressed it has been for the last 12 months.
Yeah, look, I would prefer to believe that the worst of travel and transport sectors, especially the travel and hospitality sector, if I can be more specific, is probably behind us, right? But having said that, are we at a stage of declaring a normalcy or declaring back to what the pre-COVID level is? Probably not, right? The leisure travel is picking up. The hospitality sector is opened up in most of the countries. So it's good news for us. And, we have been seeing those green shoots. It just happens to, the green gets more darker as the quarter goes by. So, having the third consecutive quarter of 10% growth is an indication of it. But I think it's very important for that sector to get the business travel back. Right? If travel and hospitality gets the business travels back to, to traveling and staying in hotels and all that, I think that brings sort of a long-term sustainability, not just the seasonal peaks in the travel and hospitality sectors for their business.
Yeah, it's interesting opposing factors at play, Venu. The IT sector is very happy that people are working from home, but for TTH, you need normalcy to come in. By the way, just wondering, this whole Delta variants, Gamma variants, etc. in the West, is it putting any bit of pressure on this recovery, or not? You're not witnessing that as
No,
well?
not really. Look, I can, look, the situation changes every day and every week, right? So whatever I say shouldn't be constituted as a definitive view. But what I can tell you is that if I look at in Europe, right, the hospitality sector is opened up pretty much in the sense that your restaurants, and you can go on a holiday, you can share your vaccine passports, and you can travel on a holiday and so on, and the sports are back. We had some of the major championships in Europe, right? So the sports is back. US also, for the July 4th a long weekend, there's a lot of travel that actually happened. So I think it's getting better week by week, but there's also a bit of a cautious approach with Delta variant. So and of course the vaccination narrative is pretty much there about accelerating it in all these countries. So in summary, I would say it's better than what it used to be before. Right, especially when I spoke to you last, it's much better from there. I just hope that it doesn't become just a summer phenomenon. It sort of extends beyond the summer.
Would you say that it's almost impossible to say confidently one way or the other whether there will be some volatility in order inflow ahead? Would you believe there will be volatility, or do you believe that businesses are mature and is kind of now steady state as opposed to being more choppy order flows?
So, yeah, look, I think the customers are still following a budget cycle which are short in duration, right? I mean, not the 2-year, 3-year budget cycle, right? I mean, last year, if somebody would have asked me, I would have said, look, most of the customers, in fact, majority of the customers would have planned a 3 months budget cycle. Now, probably it has increased to 6 months and probably a year. So the outlook is slightly getting better in that sense. But with regard to our own order booking, outlook, look, I think we're on the right track. The fact that we had a great order booking status in the first quarter, I think I'm reasonably confident of having an order booking which is higher than last year, and that's the endeavor, right? That we want to do more order booking compared to last year. Last year we did about 1.4, so that's essentially where we aspire to do. The quarterly variations may happen, and I wouldn't attribute all the time towards the COVID situations. It may be because of decision cycles being varied as well. So,
sure, but fabulous stuff on the order backlog. I mean, the TCV is just very impressive, and really congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I should have done it at the start, incidentally, but nevertheless.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so a couple of things that I picked up from reports that I was reading to this morning before our interaction. One, I think one of the notes has pointed out, and please tell me what you make of it, that the incremental revenue in June, apparently, as per their math, was accompanied by about some amount of rise in receivables, despite the drop in revenue share from fixed price projects. And they believe that some normalization of this impact in the subsequent quarters needs to be seen. What would you say to that?
Look, I think if I look at it from Mindtree, point of view, right? So there are two things that we are focused as a team, right? So first is, we want to have a good mix of the fixed price, managed services, outcome based kind of programs versus the T&M, right? So I mean, it's a different commercial arrangements, and we are seeing customers very keen to have combination of both constructs the long-term engagement. So that's one thing. We want to have a healthy mix of that. The second thing I would say is that right from last year same time, we've been talking about increasing more deals which has an annuity construct or a multi-year annuity construct. I think we're on the right track of that too as well, including converting some of our existing scope into multi-year annuity deals also has happened this quarter, which is a good news, right? And we are seeing that as long as we give a certainty of value and certainty of cost advantage and the sort of an opportunity to transform at a much quicker rate, customers are willing to sort of sign up with long-term contract on things which are anyway minimum budget, like keep the lights on. They have to spend that money anyway. But anything which is discretionary, happens to be in a shorter or mid-range budget cycles.
Okay. The other question, and something I would love you to speak about is of course the margin strength that you've displayed all through the last
Mhm.
12 months. Are some people believe that, or not believe really, but question whether this is sustainable, or this is, can you maintain this? Are we close to a peak, or can you actually take it further from where we are right now? Any thoughts that you can share here for
Look,
FY22?
sure. Look, I think when I spoke to you last as well, and the general narrative has been that look, we will work hard to keep our EBITDA at 20% plus. But there may be a short-term headwinds, because either it could be due to the hikes that we're giving it to the junior and middle management, or it could be because we are making significant investments as we see a very robust demand outlook. But for the year, that narrative hasn't changed. So, we still keep to that point that we made, or to the promise that we made, that we'll work hard to keep our EBITDA at 20% and plus.
So you, even if you are at a peak, Venu, you don't believe you are at the edge of the cliff. I mean, there is no reason to believe that there will be a slight downwards on these. You will be able to hopefully manage in a tight range, but with a slightly upward bias, or a maintain these kind of numbers.
Yeah, for the year we are optimistic, but short term there may be a bit of headwinds, but for the year we're optimistic.
Okay, fair call. Citi in its note says that the cash flow generation in quarter 1, and they're looking at it quarter. I know you may not necessarily look at business on a quarterly basis and more on an annual basis, but they're saying that cash flow generation in quarter 1 was weaker than what they had anticipated, and something that they believe people should be watching out for. Any thoughts here?
Look, I think if I remember correctly, I think in the earnings call, our CFO, we did clarify that that point. It's primarily due to certain fixed price projects where you recognize revenue, and but you invoice to the customer at a certain milestone differently. There's a bit of a mismatch on that, and thereby the cash that you get at that time is available. So I would say it's pretty much non-material for us to be concerned about. So I would probably put it that way. It's not something that we are worried about. It just happens to be based on 1 or 2 projects where there is a time lag between the time you recognize revenue and the time you raise an invoice. So, but not something that we are worried about.
Okay, last question, Venu, and broad-based. You can choose to answer it in whichever silo you want to. But yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 notes kind of made this synopsis about how they believe that by virtue of this book-to-bill ratio and the deal pipeline that is in store, the fact that you are able to, or you will be able to mine strategic clients as well, that you can deliver industry-leading growth much higher than the high teens for FY22. Give us some thoughts around this. What could lead to this? Any other thing that I may have missed out for, including what you're looking to do in specific geographies or verticals?
Look, I think the fact that we had a good start for the year, just reaffirms our belief that we can deliver the industry-leading double-digit growth. That's number 1, right? Number 2 is that we hope to have a growth which is consistent across all the sectors, because we have a good start for the for the quarter, for the year. So that should continue. And the investment that we have made in geographies like Europe, for example, right? I mean, whether it's in the Nordics or in the DACH region and so on, they've already shown early gains for us on those investments, and that will only accelerate as we go along. And the last one is a healthcare. Healthcare is an incubation that we just started in the first quarter. And it can only get better from there, right? So anything that you incubate takes time to mature, but that's also a wide space for us in terms of what growth opportunity that brings to Mindtree overall. So look, I'm optimistic of where things will go over the next few quarters, and I remain consistent on the fact that our strategy is good and demand outlook is good, Niraj. It's the same thing I told last quarter, and I would repeat the same.
So the only thing that I would urge you to maybe modify a little bit is that your stock trades at 30 times. People expect the moon from you. Double digit is a very wide range from 10 to 99. Would it be higher than the high teens? Is that a distinct possibility after a splendid quarter 1?
Look, I think we have refrained from giving a specific number as a practice and as a policy. So I would only say that as 3 months is not too long a period. So you will see those results coming in, and you will see what range we will come about. But I can promise you that we will be an industry leader.
Which is great. Okay. Love the confidence. Great work, Venu, and
Thank you,
congratulations
Niraj.
to you and team for a
Thank
fabulous
you.
Q1, and all the best for the times ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Great talking to you. Thank you.
Likewise. And viewers, thanks for tuning into this edition of The Talking Point.